Thanks to all of those of you who are tuning in for the first time. What I'm kind of going to do in these streams going forward is to kind of start working on a stream about not just the server, but about other things. Going to try to stay more on the tech side and less on the political front. I kind of want it to be a podcast / talk show while I play Minecraft, which I know is kind of dumb. Hi, Radio Z. How are you, man? I'm not a huge fan of the way that a lot of YouTubers go about doing talk shows or whatever. I'd like to have a good audience where it's kind of a discussion as opposed to just me rambling on forever, but we'll see how that goes. This live stream in particular is going to be mostly about what's going on with 9B9T and what all the changes are happening with it, like why I decided to do what I did, and what's going to happen with 9B going forward. So I guess I'll just jump into it, and I'll talk a little bit about the 9B9T player base as it stands. So currently there is a large segment of 9B9T that has kind of just dropped off. Everybody's kind of noticed that the player base has shrunk a little bit. And I think that's a lot to do with the fact that school just got back in, and the fact that 9B was never a very big server to begin with. I'd like to see it change a little bit into more of a smaller community anyway. That was always something that I kind of wanted for it. I'm going to die here again. I never saw 9B as this big monolithic thing to begin with. A lot of people set out to build something big, and in reality I just wanted to build something small. There are a lot of communities out there, and a lot of their player bases don't have what I'd call stickiness to them, and that's just because of the fact that the player base is not actually working together. And that's one of the things that I think that 9B has that going forward I'd like to see more of. The player base, runs around, makes jokes, and does all these things together. And I really think of 9B as a solid little community of atheists. No, I'm kidding. A solid little community of people who just want to play Minecraft and don't want the repercussions of all of the problems that come with Minecraft. But 9B as a whole really should be a community of people who want to play together, is my general feeling. And the problem I had with 2B and why I left 2B is that quite literally it became a shouting contest, and I was never a big fan of what 2B eventually became. And right now I think that 2B is basically a sellout server. It's there to make the owners money, but the owners don't care about it. And they aren't there to make it any better or make the game any better for the player base. And it's one of those things that... Am I being gifted with something already? Yeah, I don't want any of that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But I wish that 2B would go back to the small community that I used to know. You'd hop on every day and you'd know who'd be there, and I think 9B is that. I think 9B is that small community of who's on, who's playing, what they're doing, and I really missed that about 2B, and that's why 9B exists. As far as the player base is concerned, I'm happy with the current size and scope of it. I think that having 10 or 15 people online is kind of cool. I never really wanted more than that to begin with, so I know everybody complains about the size of the player base, but I always felt that in the early days that 9B had too many people online. That was kind of my general sentiment. Apparently my streaming wasn't super smooth, so I upped the bitrate quite a bit, which should help out a lot. I really can't foresee 9B ever growing to what 2B is, and I hope it doesn't. So, what was going on yesterday with the whole flight thing? And I realize I'm talking to myself here, basically. But, so, for a while now, I've been getting a lot of PMs from people like Jot and others on the server, Mr. Butterman, etc., who consistently asked me to re-enable elytras. And I'd been working on some code for a little bit to try to actually fix the elytra problem, and I just couldn't quite get it to where I wanted it to be, and it still isn't where I want it to be. But I had just basically decided that it's a small enough community, it's a small enough group of people, that if I asked nicely enough, which was, you know, me being like, please don't go flying around for all eternity, that I could actually get people to kind of just be a good steward of the server. And I don't know how to word that. It wasn't a rule, because I wasn't telling people, hey, don't go, you know, flying off into new areas or whatever have you. It was more telling people, don't do that prolifically so much that I have to buy more SSD space. I don't really have the budget for it. This server already costs quite a bit as is. It would be nice to not have to pay the server bill, but I don't think we're ever going to have the donations required to pull that off. So, from that perspective, I wish that we as a server could actually pay the bill enough to be able to afford SSD upgrades eventually. But without that, I just didn't want people flying off into the ether so that I had to afford an upgrade right away. Flash, I'm paying about $200 a month right now for the server. I may eventually end up downgrading some of the specs on it, but like the SSDs are going to be the killer price for all of that. I'm kind of apprehensive about paying that server bill if the population continues to decline, but at the moment it seems to have stabilized.
Alright, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, man. So I've started wandering out into the great unknown. I'm following the negative x-axis apparently. And I've been idle for too long, apparently. The render distance has very little to do with whether or not the server and its SSDs fill up. The render distance is nice to have, but it hasn't had a great impact on how many chunks we're generating every day. For the most part, the entirety of the SSD is taken up by people flying through spaces they're never going to... No one is ever going to come through again. So there's whole sections of the map that are just one-time generations that somebody flew through one time, never going to end up back there again. Thank you for the pumpkin. What is this? Pumpkin with a curse of binding, huh? I'd like to downgrade the server. The problem is that if I downgrade the server to something smaller, Flash, you're going to end up with a problem where I'm either going to have to go to hard disks, which is going to... I don't like hard disks for a Minecraft server. Hard disks don't perform well, and it makes it much easier to drop the TPS to basically 0. So if I did downgrade, I'd have to go to hard disks, and I don't want to go to hard disks. I'd prefer to stick to SSDs.
Are you overworld?
No, I'm in the nether. I'm going to kill myself here in a minute. I'm just letting someone follow me around for the moment so I can kill myself in a second. Because he knows exactly where I'm at. He's given me golden carrots and he's currently playing Minecart 11 heads all over the path, and like I'm just waiting for me to find some fire or something to kill myself up. There we go. Goodbye, cruel world. Okay, so I'm back at spawn. Not that I'm going to live very long, but I'm going to head towards a nether portal, and I think you should too. But yeah, it would be nice to downgrade the server, especially for cost-wise. The server's quite expensive as is, and if we could downgrade to like $50 or $75 a month, that would be fantastic, but I just don't think we can do that with the current SSD setup. And I don't think we can do that, you know, with another provider either. And I've done some research into it, and I just can't find anybody who offers, multiple 2 terabyte SSDs for a reasonable price every month.
Nether spawn is being camped.
Why am I not surprised? I have managed to escape, I think. Well, I thought I did. Thought I had. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go and just walk out of here, and not hit the nether up. I don't know what you think about that, but
You just want to go overworld?
For the moment, yeah. See if I can. Likely to die over and over again until I get out of the.
I'm in the nether. No one's killing me.
Oh, okay. I just can't seem to stop spawning on single blocks like 100 stories up. As far as streaming going forward, I'd like to start doing... Damn it, fell through again. I'd like to start doing 2 or 3 streams a week, possibly. I don't know what everybody's thoughts on that are. I'd like to go ahead and have a list of topics or whatever to talk about on a live stream. New tech that's coming out, stuff that's popular in the Minecraft and gaming world, etc.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through that a little better.
Yep. And there's like one portal out of here, and everybody's around it just waiting for me. I'm gonna have to get a little more creative if I want to get out of here.
I'm in nether spawn. Nobody's here.
Yeah, but they're all waiting on the other side of the nether spawn. I'm terrible at getting out of spawn. But the entire difficulty of getting out of spawn is just mitigated by trying a whole bunch. That's the thing that like newbies don't understand. Like everybody goes through and does like 27,000 runs
Until you finally get it.
Exactly, until you finally get out there far enough, and then you like plant a little wheat farm and pray it grows enough that you're able to eat it or whatever. And like, I remember my first time on 2B, there was nothing for miles and miles and miles. And so, quite literally, I went out there and I planted wheat, and I sat around and I waited until they died, waiting for the wheat to grow, because the ticks per second were just so low back then.
Yeah.
And I distinctly recall, like, dying like 3 or 4 times and just walking back out to the same spot over and over and over again until I finally managed to... I remember, like, doing that procedure probably 3 or 4 times over various different points, like over, a couple of different times when I just had to restart almost entirely. And it was cool. It was fun. I mean, it can get frustrating, especially when I remember one of the times I did it, I was out there all alone, and like all of a sudden these blue eyes come out of nowhere and just like ransack everything and take all of my stuff. And I had been sitting out there waiting for my wheat to grow for days, like, because the ticks per second was at like 1 at that point. It was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Is that 2B or 9B?
This is 9B.
2B.
That was what I was talking about was on 2B. So I've never done that on 9B. I mean, I'm sure I'll eventually end up doing it, but
Nah.
As far as what I play outside of Minecraft, I've done some League of Legends. I'm not a huge fan of the game from a... I'm not very good at it, for one thing. But I suppose somebody has to be in the bottom 20% or whatever have you of every playing game.
Any WoW?
I've done WoW, played a lot of WoW. I ran a WoW server at one point in time. that was pretty big. This was Wrath of the Lich King era, though, when I played that.
This was a while ago.
Yeah. This was like half a decade or more ago.
Any RuneScape?
Did that. That was actually my first MMO. I don't know if anybody knows anything about me or whatever, but I'm gonna die. When I was younger, my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever have you, and so for those of you who don't know what Jehovah's Witnesses are, like, when I was a kid, parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, and if you don't know anything about that, like, they frown upon magic, they frown upon birthdays, they don't do anything, like anything of any substance at all that's fun. It's funny that people keep trying to give me stuff, and I don't want stuff. I want to earn my own stuff.
It's survival.
Exactly. I want to earn my own stuff. I don't want you to give me stuff. If I wanted stuff, I'd have stuff. Perfectly capable of issuing a server command and just taking whatever I want.
All I need is a computer and a rocket launcher. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I ended up playing RuneScape for the first time by sneaking off to the library every day after school for like 30 minutes or whatever have you. And just borrowing a computer there. And the funny thing is, the town I grew up in had like 2 computers or whatever. And so about 2 out of every 3 days, I'd end up walking like a mile and a half just to find out that the computers were already booked before I got there. So I ended up, walking an extra mile and a half to try to play RuneScape for 30 minutes or whatever have you. And then I'd just go home right after that. And so maybe 2 times a week I'd get to play RuneScape for like 30 minutes at a time. We had a computer at home, but I couldn't like hide the fact that I was playing RuneScape from my parents. It was in the middle of the living room, and like at that point in time I was, there was just no way I was getting away with that.
Yeah.
Ended up playing that for a while, and eventually when my parents kicked me out when I was 16, well, my father kicked me out when I was 16, I ended up living with my brother, and I was still in that religion at that point in time. And I think the first real decision I ever made outside of the religion was my brother offered to buy me a copy of World of Warcraft for my birthday. Ended up playing the crap out of that game. It was a lot of fun. Burning Crusade had just finished or whatever. We were getting ready for Wrath of the Lich King. I loved Wrath of the Lich King. It was good stuff.
What are you doing, jumping off or something?
No, people keep attacking me. It's easy to figure out where I'm at because, streaming. As people are checking out their geographic maps and going, yeah, he lives in this tiny little pocket over here.
Oh, shit. No, he lives in Haiti.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
JJ is Jamaican. You got a donation this month.
Did I? I'll have to check it out. Holy shit, dude. That's
Yeah.
the largest donation we've ever gotten. You want me to tell people what it was?
I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not?
It was $100. A donation of half the server bill. I've never gotten a donation that big. But like I was saying, I'm going to try to do a stream like once or twice a week from here on out.
We can get good content.
Yeah.
Let's get Flashback to blow up Praga, dude.
I was actually aiming for more along the lines of I play Minecraft or, another video game, and then I talk about like tech or just life stuff,
Yeah, I know. It's like, here's the new iPod full of gigabytes. No.
Yeah. Man, this is like a sea of crap. I'm surrounded by people too. I'm gonna have to come back on here after like the stream or whatever, and just wait until nobody notices, and then just like run out into the wilderness or whatever, just so that people like leave me alone.
No, you don't want to be left alone. No, it's part of the fun. You gotta be there, and they'll just like hitting you with stuff, and just stay there. And they'll be like, "Oh, someone's hacking."
I mean,
Swag wants to blow up Auschwitz, and he wants you to live stream it.
I'm sure he does.
What the fuck, Fibular? Why did you tell him where Auschwitz was?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure out where Auschwitz is. Just pick the biggest chunks in the frickin' chunk map.
I'm sure you found it already a few times.
Yeah, it's like this giant section of the hard disk.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's. Oh no, I think I have a pretty big section of the hard disk. You've been out where I've been.
Yeah, I've been there. Oh my god, you're in the multi gigs. You know that, right?
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah. So what I made was a sorting machine, and I was working on a program to move my player to sort shulkers. So because you can't like sort them automatically, the non-stacked items. So I was working on that for a while, but that didn't turn out. So I was just basically like running them up and down, like putting them in the places where they need to be.
I missed the hole. Fell right in. I love lava. It's so much fun. But I will be posting up a streaming schedule more than likely. I need to kind of hammer one out. As far as streaming times go, if you guys have a time that you'd like to see or whatever, just feel free to PM me on Reddit or after the stream or whatever, and I'll add it to my consideration list. Like, I work from home, so it's pretty easy for me just to fill in the gaps, so to speak.
What do you think of, like, twice a month, once a month, like?
No, I was thinking like once or twice a week.
Oh, that'd be cool. We got to get some more visibility here.
Yeah. I think a stream would help with that. And it doesn't just have to be about getting people to the server or whatever have you. I'd like to actually build a, small following. I'm just going to be wandering off into the ether here. I have no idea where I am, and I really hate to hit F3, but I have to. Okay, so the path should be right here. That's a hole in the ground. That's also a hole in the ground. Like, there's no way I'm going this way. This way is screwed.
I'm a little far out, though. You might be walking for a while.
Couple decades or something.
Yeah, so what's the deal with the elytras? Did you already talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I've already talked about it, but I'll talk about it a little more, because talking about it's fun. So originally I banned elytras just because you could fly indefinitely and generate like 1 billion chunks really quickly. You could generate 9 or 10 chunks every like 2 milliseconds or whatever have you while you were flying, which is just obscene. It fills up the hard drive really fast, especially with chunks that nobody's ever going to visit again. Like the X and Z axes, like people travel those all the time. So like people are going to go down those eventually. But like people were taking random routes through the nether or whatever have you, and it was just causing all sorts of server lag, and it was causing lots and lots of chunks to be generated in the hard.
I did the calculations on it, and if you're able to load just one chunk line, right, out to 30 mil, like the distance to get to 30 mil overworld, but through the nether, it's like 37 gigs if they're unloaded. Yeah,
that's kind of the problem, is people going halfway out or all the way out to the nether, or to the 30 mil or whatever. Anyway, so yesterday I made a post called The New Deal, and the new deal was basically I'm going to re-enable elytras, but if I catch anybody like generating an obscene amount of chunks, I'm just going to disable elytras for them. And I got quite a bit of hate for that, which is understandable because it's kind of like a rule. I don't like rules. I didn't like the idea of banning elytras either, because that's kind of a rule too. Everything's a rule. It's just software or hardware.
You should just make it look, so after they've been loading chunks persistently, right, and then they stop moving, have it look for an area with a large amount of storage, and then just MC edit out all those chunks.
Yeah, but that's really difficult to detect. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, yeah, because they're saved within the region.
Yeah, and here's one thing that Notch really should have done when he built Minecraft, is chunk genesis dates and mutations. So quite literally, every chunk should have had a genesis and a mutation on it. So genesis was, time it was created, and the mutation was the date that somebody last went into that chunk and did anything. And so, quite literally, it would be a lot easier to find chunks that are useless just by saying, give me all the chunks that the genesis and the mutation time, time that the chunk was created and the last time somebody did anything in that chunk are 3 seconds apart, just drop all of those.
Or no, you'd look for deviations from the standard chunk, right? So if there's no deviation, nobody did anything in that chunk, just forget about it.
Yeah, but you can't even do that because of the way that Minecraft generates chunks. Because like trees and stuff.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So like if a tree grew in the chunk, or if there was wheat planted or something, or if a rabbit moved or anything, it's just stupid. It's really stupid.
They'll load the corners of the next chunk, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so the new deal is basically I made a patch that I'd been working on for a bit, but I decided it was close enough to working that, and I had Jot help me test it out actually, that it'll do what I want it to do enough, that it's close enough. So basically it detects if you are doing flying with an elytra for too long, and it's got two different things on it. Basically, one is a detection that your speed is too high for how long you've been in the air, basically, and it'll kick you from the game if that's the case. And the other detection it does is if you've been flying for over a minute, it will start warning you and being like, "You've been flying for a really long time there, buddy." And if you don't touch down and land within the next 10 seconds or so, it will take your wings off of you and put them back in your inventory.
Well, you might just be able to solve the whole problem by prohibiting phasing.
Yes, but you can't really prohibit phasing Minecraft. It's even the best plugins for that are crap at it.
Couldn't you have bounce checks on the coordinates that they're at?
Yeah, you can.
Is that too intensive?
It's very CPU intensive.
All right.
Like, you want to see TPS lag? That's how you make TPS lag.
Got it. So what's the state right now? So do we have elytras or not?
We have elytras. If you fly for more than a minute, it'll warn you, and then it'll pull them off of your back. It actually makes some cute comment of like, "You see that bird? Rips wings off."
Did you see that bird? Enter window.
Yeah.
Something. Bird in the window. I don't know.
This is.
Oh, you're so close. Come on, you only got another 30 mil to go. Come on.
As if I haven't gotten other things to do today.
Nah.
No.
Actually, I got to go to work. I got to leave in like 3 minutes. So.
Well, it sounds like a great time to end the stream at that point.
Yeah. Hey, good talking to you. Though. Like, I'm glad everything is. Glad 90 didn't die. Nice.
I don't think it can die. It's like cancer. It just keeps growing.
When elementary school started, like this month, it was dead.
Yeah, but I don't think it was dead for. Like 2B had died down too. Like,
oh, yeah.
you look at 2B, people were getting on without priority queue. It was weird.
Yeah. Priority queue. Ha.
I mean, some of us are just welcome to join it whenever, but.
I know, I would play at work when like I got downtime, but I don't want to get roped up in that.
I just don't like how House has done the pay-to-win system. That's my real complaint against 2B. That's why I've never come back.
Isn't it pay to play?
It is.
What do you mean by pay to win?
It's pay to win because like a lot of combat depends on you being able to disconnect quickly if you're losing or whatever. Not saying that that's a great idea, but people do it all the time. And if you can reconnect and disconnect and reconnect quickly, you have a lot better shot of living and surviving.
Okay, got it. In PvP.
Exactly. So it's pay to play and it's pay to win.
Yeah.
The only thing he isn't doing is selling swords, which he might as well be because the people who are on the server longer get access to better weaponry and, you know, they do. It just is a fact. If you can play longer, you will end up with better stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so the people who have to sit in queue for 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, you know, the newbies or whatever, get horked in two fashions because of the pay to play and the pay to win.
Nice. So how long do you think you're going to keep 9B up?
Indefinitely.
All right, I'll help you. I'll help you with that goal. Let's do this. Let's make this go into 20 2020.
Yeah,
2030.
I have no problems. Like, provided that like Minecraft is still a thing in 2020, I'm game for it. All right. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I think I'm gonna call it, unless anybody has anything to add, anything cool. If you have a suggestion for the stream time or for what we should talk about next time on the stream, give me a chat. Colt, if you're interested, maybe we can have you and Tex on every time. It was fun. So,
well, I think our next topic should be the Antifa movement and how social justice warriors, are contributing to a society.
Yeah, can we stay away from the politics? I'd rather not have the SJWs on my door. It's not as if I already run a server that has swastikas all over it.
Well,
Not my fault.
Christmas tree at K2.
Not my fault. It's not like I planted any of those anywhere.
Christmas tree at K2.
Oh, guys. All right. Yeah, I gotta go too. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm probably going to do one in the evening sometime next week or whatever. Have a good one, guys. I appreciate it.
See ya.
Yeah, thanks. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this week's live stream. From now on, we'll be live streaming every Saturday around 9 p.m. UTC, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, or 2 p.m. Pacific Time. If you'd like, you can come by and check it out then. We'll also be uploading a minified version, like the version you just saw, every week around 24 hours after the stream. So come by, check it out, see what you think. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.